Hey everybody, I'm glad to be back, and I want to talk about the Intellivision Amico update that came out a little over a week ago, finally ending their quote-unquote quiet time or quiet period. Now, before I get to that, I want to highlight this article I found on the National Library of Medicine. This is a government website. It's called the lure technique. Now, the lure technique is also known as bait and switch. Some people have talked about how Intellivision likes to kick the can. I would like to propose to you that they're actually baiting and switching, or you could say that those terms are somewhat synonymous. Now, I am not a legal expert. This is for entertainment purposes only and just to share my thoughts on it, but I see this pattern happening, and it doesn't have to just apply to the system itself, but the behavior and how they communicate their information. So let's go to this article. It says, this technique, also called bait and switch, is used to influence people's choices and involves three stages. One, individuals are led to make a rewarding decision to carry out a given behavior. Two, they are informed of the impossibility of carrying out this behavior. And three, a new but less rewarding decision is proposed. And what I'm saying is, when it comes to information, Intellivision, entertainment, in my opinion, has been using bait and switch tactics when giving it out. So it started with launch dates, right? We're going to tell you when the system's going to come out. And then that led by the end of 2021 to, we can't give you a launch date, but in November, they said in an email, we're going to give you a ship date goal. We hope to give it by the end of the year. So now you're not going to get the launch date, but a ship date goal. And then when the new year happened, they told Republic investors that ship date that we were going to give at the end of the year, bait and switch, is now going to be given in 30 days or so in January. Then in February, when it becomes known that Phil Adam is taking over, he's on a live stream February 6th, and he says the ship date will be given mid to the end of February. So a little bait and switch there. Went from the end of 2021 now to the end of February. And then 4 days later, he says the ship date is going to be given either the end of February, maybe March 1st. They keep expanding it, moving the goalpost, bait and switch. And then we finally get the update, not on March 1st, but on March 2nd. And what do we get? Do we get a ship date? No. We basically get that they're entering a quiet period, that they're talking to investors and potential acquirers. And do we ever hear about those investors and acquirers when they finally did speak? No, we don't. Bait and switch. We're going to give you one thing. No, we're changing what we're giving you, and it's not as much as you thought before. So then John Alvarado, he was in the chat of a live stream on May 11th. He says, I forecast the quiet period will end by the end of this month, that being May. That didn't happen, of course, bait and switch. And then Phil told was telling people, one listener actually shared an email where he said, either on Friday, June 3rd or Monday the 6th, I plan to give an Intellivision update. When did we get it? Bait and switch on the 7th. That's when we got it. And that's what we're going to go into today. And like I said before, does this update talk about the investors or acquirers that the whole quiet period was about? No, it does not. Okay, so here it goes. It opens, greetings. It has been a while since our last official update. I thank you for your patience. I hope that this update on the state of Intellivision will answer some of your questions and explain where we are heading. When I took over as CEO of Intellivision, my goal in leadership required some tough decisions to ensure that we launch a quality product. One, we pulled down our investment campaign on Start Engine a few weeks after it launched in February of this year. Without better visibility of our path to profitability, we felt that this was the right decision in the short term. Basically, what they're saying was we weren't getting any money out of Start Engine. So any funds committed by Start Engine investors as part of the campaign were returned in full. Of course, this required us to take other financial measures to make up for the foregone new investment. And do they talk about those measures? No, they do not, even though they kind of alluded to them in their previous update. Two, we have dramatically reined in our operating cost, which unfortunately required a significant reduction in staff. Our resources are focused on engineering and testing to ensure we have a quality system, and we cannot succeed by producing anything less. Now, let me ask you something. If they don't have the money for the staff, how are they going to have the money for the system? And if they don't have the staff, how are they going to have a quality system if they have to reduce staff? And there is a little bit of baiting and switching, albeit this may have been out of their control. They're running out of money. But all the previous, or I should say several of the previous videos, and even like on places like their Republic investor page, they showed off their huge staff and all their experience they had. And this is the people that are going to be behind the Amico, and they're gone now. There's a bait and switch. We told you that these people would be behind it. Now they're not, and we're going to tell you why it's no longer a possibility. And I know the whole Jay Allard thing was a huge thing when it came out, and it's even worse than that now because a lot of these people are gone, and they haven't come out and publicly said who's gone, really, even though that's still published on some of their like old investment sites. They never updated their investors to say, well, we apologize that these following people who are listed on our page are no longer with us. They never did that. Okay, so let's go on to point 3. We are working with game development partners to license classic Intellivision intellectual property IPs for publication on other platforms. Now, it's interesting because this doesn't clearly say that it's just the games, right? Their IPs could be included in their updated games like the new Astro Smash. So they're not saying that you'll only see other classic games on other platforms, and we've already seen that while they've been in business. The Evercade got an Intellivision collection on their system, and they also have a second one that's supposed to be launched soon. So this has already been kind of in the works. These licensing deals will help fund continued development of Amico. A broader distribution of Intellivision classic IP will also help raise awareness of Intellivision while not directly competing with Amico because of our Amico's unique controllers and family-focused gaming adaptations. This almost tells me that they're not going to compete with the Amico, even though some of the same games are going to be on other systems, because of their controller. Remember how we were told certain games can only work on the Amico with the controller? I wouldn't be surprised if some of their reimagined classics that we've seen, like Shark and Astro Smash, appear on the Switch eShop or something like that. And what they once told were going to be exclusive, bait and switch, no longer are. Many people in the retro gaming community have embraced us because of our family focus and the fact that all our games, including retro titles, are adapted for group play. While Amico's broad catalog will continue to include retro titles, our mission has been and remains cross-generational in-home family entertainment. And another bait and switch, way early on when Tommy Tallarico first introduced the idea of the Amico, he talked about how it would include something like 60 to 80 of the original Intellivision games on it when it came out. They would be built in, and there was a bait and switch there where they said, well, they'll be out like a year later and you'll have to pay extra for them. So there's another bait and switch. Number 4, we have begun a test production run of Amico that includes every aspect of the product, including packaging. This is first and foremost an assessment of our manufacturing approach and overall quality of the delivered product. It is critically important to show to our current future investors, partners, and customers that we have built a sound platform that delivers on the in-home family experience, which requires our immediate focus on value engineering and hardening of the platform. Value engineering, it sounds like they are trying to say we're trying to build this cheaply. These units should be completed in the next few weeks. Of course, who's the first people that they want to show? Current and future investors. This tells me they need money. Now, let me ask you something. How are they going to produce these systems and actually sell them without FCC testing? Because as far as I'm aware, they never passed it, and you can't sell a consumer electronic in our country without that testing, as far as I'm aware. And this might give you the idea that this is going on in a factory somewhere. They could be doing these by hand. This could be prototypes. Another way to say this is we are making some final prototypes to show investors to get more money. That's what I read into it. And by the way, do you remember an email they sent out in November 23rd of 2021, a little over half a year ago, where they said Amico production has begun? Does this current email make it sound like they actually started that production back then? Because bait and switch, it makes it seem like production never did begin, even though they said it did. Let's continue on. Point 5, we are slowly processing refund requests. I know some people were waiting months to get their refund. The public's uncertainty of our status the last few months have understandably led to an influx of pre-order refund requests. Because of reduced staff and financing requirements for continued operation, our response to and processing of these requests have been delayed. Basically, they're saying there was no one to answer your emails, right? Rest assured that our intention is to honor all refund requests. We will allocate a portion of the new funding and staff time to winding down the refund queue. Wait a minute. New funding? that means they don't have the money anymore. That means they spent the pre-order money. Even though some people were led to believe that this pre-order money was put into an escrow, bait and switch, they spent it. What did they spend it on? Did they spend it on their own salaries? Is this starting to sound like a Ponzi scheme almost? Or a pyramid scheme where we will give you the money once we get other new money from other investors and pre-orders. Then we will give you your money back. You have to wait until we get... That's what this sounds like, doesn't it? When previously they said, hey, it's refundable. If you want a refund anytime, just contact us. We'll give you a refund. Here's a bait and switch. Well, we'll do it if we have the money in time. Wow. While our primary focus is funding and completing a quality product ready for manufacturing, what are they saying? Your refund is second. Your money you gave us is second. Our first priority is making our system. It's not giving you your refund that we said you could have at any time. To make sure that we see your request, please submit it to support@intellivision.com. Let me tell you right now, if you still want your refund and you haven't got it yet, email them, and if you don't hear from them within 2 or 3 business days, email them again and keep pestering them, because I think this is going to be a case where the squeaky wheel gets to grease, where there might not be enough money for every single one. Now, I have heard of people finally getting some pre-order refunds, but if you're one who hasn't, you email them and email them constantly until you hear from them. And if you don't hear from them through email, start contacting Phil Adam through his email. I know Tony from the Geek Getaway has his email, or on Twitter or whatever. You do whatever you need to do to make some noise to get it, because it really stinks that there's people who were told, oh, it's guaranteed. You can get a refund at any time. Bait and switch. Oh, I'm sorry. We're not able to do it as quickly as we'd like to because of XYZ, especially in today's day where gas is skyrocketing, the cost of living is going up, and there's some people who maybe they could really use that money right now. Imagine, if you would, that some grandma who invested on Republic or heard about this through someone else, that some grandma decided to do a pre-order for her kids, but she's on a fixed income because of Social Security and the like. And she asks for her refund and she hears nothing back. And the price of gas is going up and she's wondering how she's going to afford basic living things now. That just makes it really feel kind of scummy. 6, we will focus our initial mass production on fulfilling pre-orders and supplying our 2 major distribution partners. I don't know who they're talking about there. It would be nice if this company, who, by the way, originally they said they were going to be the most transparent company ever, bait and switch. A lot of details are left out. Who are these distribution partners? The focus will remain on direct orders until our cost structure can support the margins required for the retail channels. So you're saying all those pre-orders that you said you had for Walmart and stuff are no longer there? You can't fulfill them? Bait and switch, right? We're going to be in retail shelves. No, we're not. Obviously, the markets continue to be somewhat volatile with rising inflation, rising energy costs, and lingering supply chains issues that affect all manufacturing businesses. Yes, it does affect all, but companies like the Playdate and Evercade, they're making progress, right? This has impacted both our cost and pricing and has required us to narrow our initial distribution strategy. Our hope is that we will start shipping production units this year. Where have I heard this before? This is 2022. Do you remember almost a year ago in August when we got almost the same verbiage? In spite of these supply hurdles hampering our ability to fill all orders, we are focused and determined to deliver pre-order units by the end of the year. Does that sound a lot like what we just heard Phil Adams say? Many challenges lie ahead for the business, and we appreciate our investors, partners. I wonder if they do appreciate their investors, because I want to talk about that in just a second. Customers, for your patience and support. We will be formally announcing some new IP licensing partnership deals soon, as well as showing off the Amico units currently in production. These units will be shared with partners, investors, and a select few in the media. They were once going to be the super transparent company, and now a select few. What do I hear? To people who will be nice to us. Not to people who might be critical and say exactly what they think. We're going to talk to the people who will be nice. As more production units become available, we will broaden the distribution media outlets that cover our target demographic. And they said their target demographic is families. Even though the majority of their coverage has been retro gamers, I wouldn't be surprised if you don't see these units being shipped to popular retro gaming YouTube channels, but instead to family channels. Now, they also shared this update over on their Republic page. And I found this very interesting because they were going to be transparent. And Phil said earlier on that we hope this answers their questions. And by the way, there's been people asking questions on Republic that have not gotten responses to other posts. Interesting about this update is at the end it says commenting is turned off for this update. Isn't that nice? We appreciate our investors, but we're not going to talk to you. That's my thoughts on the latest Intellivision Amico update. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I will see you next time.